Hey everybody, Amy from raisingarrows.net, and if you hear noise in the background, it's because my boys are in our nook on a Zoom call with some friends from one of the cities we used to live in. They regularly talk on the Zoom call with these other boys, and it's just something they enjoy doing, but sometimes they get kind of rowdy. So if you hear them in the background hollering and making noise, it's just because they're talking to friends. All right, so I got a really good response from the large family homeschool life video that I did. And so I thought I'd just go ahead and do the next week for you. And we'll just talk a little bit here about what a typical week is like, the things that we do, not just homeschooling, but also everyday life kind of stuff. I have all the links, all of the things that I mention are going to be down in the description. And so let's just get to it. Now the way that this works is I go through from Monday through Friday of what we do in a typical week. Now it's not a full week, it's 5 days, but it's kind of a good way for me to share kind of what a normal week looks like for us when it comes to homeschooling and homemaking and life and all of that. So we'll just start with Monday and we work our way through. So on Monday morning, I waited until about 9 a.m. to take Winston, our mini poodle, out for his morning walk because it's still icy on the roads and I was trying to avoid slipping and sliding all over the place. And it was a really nice day otherwise. So I took him out for his walk, I brought him back, and then I went ahead and walked a little bit further because I'm trying to get in about 30 minutes of just being outside walking during the day. It does a lot for your stress levels. It does a lot for just helping to boost your immune system, boost your peace and calm. And so I'm kind of trying to do that as often as possible. When I came back, we started morning time. We always start our morning time with Bible. And currently, I've told you guys about this, we're working our way through Hurlbut's. Now you can see this is like the most ancient book in the world, it looks like. I think I picked this up at a secondhand store or something like that. It has been so long ago, I don't remember. And I didn't really know what I had until I started reading through it. It is so incredible. There are actual photos. There are drawings, paintings, all kinds of things in here, but it tells the story of the Bible in chronological order. And it is so good at weaving all the pieces together so that you understand how it all works together. And so you can see we are super close to being done with this, but we're not quite yet. I think we have about 40 pages left. You can get this on Gutenberg, where you can just read it online. I highly recommend the old version from the 40s rather than the updated. I feel like the updated doesn't have the richness that this has. So anyway, this is how we start our homeschool day. Now, the really fun thing about this is that we are currently going through Acts in Hurlbut's, and we just finished Acts at church. So my kids are connecting stories they heard at church during the sermon with the stories we're reading in school. And it just has really been great to interweave those and to solidify those in their minds and hear those stories again and again. The next thing we did for morning time was listen to Follow the Drinking Gourd from Folk Song a Week in Music in Our Homeschool. Music in Our Homeschool is our go-to music and fine arts appreciation curriculum. It's an online platform. She has all the different videos there that you can listen to, and then the background that goes along with the song. She typically has like coloring pages, and we don't usually use those. But she has a lot of information there. We are currently doing the folk songs. We're almost done with those. I'm not real sure what we'll go to next after that. But we have done lots and lots and lots of her classes. I actually have the membership. The membership is only open a couple times a year. So I will try to let you know when that's happening, but I always seem to miss it. So anyway, I will try to remember that and let you know. But the membership is really great. But if there's a specific class that you want, all of her classes are really, really good. Then I read to the kids from Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. And this was such a lovely story. There was so much in there. We ended up like taking time afterwards to dig around on the internet, looking for more information on these Freedom Quilts. Such a neat story. Highly recommend it. Then I read a couple of chapters to the kids from By the Shores of Silver Lake. And then we used this book, Nature Anatomy, to look up water birds. And those were assignments from the Playful Pioneers, all of that stuff from Sweet Clara down to this Nature Anatomy. Those were assignments from the Playful Pioneers. I have a video review here about that curriculum. It goes through the Little House on the Prairie books. We are almost finished with it, but we have really enjoyed it. And these books are fantastic. This whole set is just so good. It has all kinds of information in it. And this one's about nature. There's farm, there's food. I'm trying to think what the other one is that we own. But anyway, really good investment. As usual, when I get done with morning time with the kids, they go into their independent schoolwork. I start with the little girls and help them, and then work my way up, checking with the boys to see how they're doing. And right in the middle of all of that, I got a phone call from a friend whose elderly neighbor needed my boys to come over and shovel her sidewalk and her driveway and take some icicles down for her. So I drove them over there because that's more important and they can do their schoolwork later. And then my friend's husband actually drove them back because I had to go with another friend to pick up my husband's truck in a neighboring town. So we did that, and she and I had a really great talk on the way. We talked about all kinds of things from diets to scripture and everything in between. She and I have a great time when we get together, and we could probably talk for hours and hours and not run out of things to say. It's really nice to have friends like that. So because I missed lunch due to my little jaunt to a neighboring city, I came home and ate kind of late. I had a baked potato and fajita chicken, and then over the top of that, I sprinkled this stuff. This is Dano's Cheesening, and I've got a little bit of a glare on there, but this stuff is so good. I got it at Walmart. I wasn't real sure what to expect from it, but it is really, really good. And so I kind of put it on everything now. All right, and then that evening, my kids made nachos for dinner, and I worked on a YouTube class that I have slowly been taking for several months now. It's the YouTube Extraordinaire class from Jay Morrell, and she and I have been friends for many, many years, and I thought I'd go ahead and take her class because she's kind of a YouTube phenomenon, so I thought that would be fun to learn from her. And so I'm slowly taking that class. I've had a lot of life going on, and so it's taking me a little while. And then my 13-year-old took my laptop and he edited one of my videos. My 13-year-old and my 15-year-old switch off and on editing the videos here for the channel. And so it was the 13-year-old's turn, and he got that taken care of. One of the reasons that we use my laptop instead of the new computer is because my laptop is a MacBook. And because I use an iPhone to record, I like to be able to just airdrop to my laptop, then use iMovie to take care of everything and then upload it straight to YouTube. It's just a workflow thing. Eventually, I would like for my boys to learn Adobe Premiere because it looks good on a resume. So eventually I hope to move to that. And when we do that, they will use the desktop that is Windows based, that's in the Nook where they're talking to their friends on the Zoom call. And we'll just have to figure out a workflow that's a little bit better. I'll probably put it in Dropbox, which is what I do with my podcast, so that my 25-year-old can edit the podcast and then upload it and all of that. So I've got a lot of moving parts and pieces, but currently they're using the MacBook and iMovie to edit these videos. While he was doing that, I worked on my Bible study or my book study that we're doing for our Titus 2 group. The Titus 2 group that I am in meets every other Tuesday evening, and we are currently going through, where'd it go? Here we go. This is the workbook in the book, The Power of a Woman's Words, and it's really good. So we're going through that, and I needed to do the homework for the Bible study tomorrow. So I worked on that while he was editing my video. I also read in Kristen Lavren's daughter, The Wife, and I've told you guys about this before. I am really close to being finished. This is the Norwegian book that I was telling you about. This is the second one in the trilogy. I am almost done with it, but it is so good, and I'm excited to finish it and get into the last book. So Tuesday morning is my Weight Watchers meeting, and I got up that morning and I weighed, and I was incredibly discouraged. It's been a real struggle over the last few months. I just don't know what to change, what to do, but I decided to go ahead and go to the meeting. And another thing I decided to do was to just get dressed in normal clothes. I am tired for looking for clothes that weigh the least in my closet and then wearing those. I'm just gonna wear normal clothes, and I decided that this was kind of a starting over point for me. And sure enough, I went to the meeting. I was super rejuvenated, excited about it. I kind of have a game plan in mind now. What I'm planning on doing is really simplifying my meals down to vegetables and meat, and really just staying there. I'm going to do my best to eliminate sugar and bread right now, and dairy. Dairy, unfortunately, seems to be a vice of mine, and so I need to kind of watch it with that. I have this line from my window. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here on the floor beside my bed and try to avoid the line in the blinds. When I got home from my meeting at Weight Watchers, I did morning time with the kids. We usually get started a little bit later on Tuesday because of that, but not a big deal. As usual, started with Hurlbut's and By the Shores of Silver Lake. And then I also read to the kids from a book that I'd never read before called Fiona's Lace, and it was a beautiful story about Irish immigrants. My dad's side of the family is Irish, and so it was a lot of fun to read that story and wonder, you know, what my dad's side of the family maybe would have been like coming over here, and if any of them were lace makers. And so it was a very precious story. For lunch, I made bacon and eggs and hash browns and spinach, which is my usual breakfast, but because I don't eat breakfast before I go to Weight Watchers, I ate it for lunch because it sounded like a great way to start my day. And then after that, my 19-year-old and I got ready to go do the weekly shopping. I tend to like to do this on Monday, but because of the weather lately, Tuesday's been the better day to go. We go to Aldi first and then finish up at Walmart, and then we came home. And by the time we came home, it was time to get started on the food that we were making to bring with us to the Titus 2 group. Our Titus 2 group is potluck every single week, so we were bringing fajita chicken and the peppers and onions, and other people brought like soup, and there was kimchi, and there was fruit and veggies, and so we just kind of pot providence all of it. We just bring it all in, and whatever's there is what's there. When I got home from Titus 2, I tried to upload a podcast that my 25-year-old had gotten done for me, but I could not get it to load. Something was wrong with the platform that I use for the podcast, and so I couldn't do that. So I figured, well, I guess tomorrow I'll try again, and instead my 19-year-old put everybody to bed, and she and I watched Endeavor, which is like a prequel to the Inspector Morse series. It's when he was a detective constable. And so that's on Prime Video right now, and she and I are working our way through the seasons of that. It was such a nice morning today. It was about mid-30s. It was beautiful. All the snow is slush now, so that part wasn't beautiful, but just the air temperature was so much nicer than it's been, and so I was really, really happy about that, and I just really was breathing deep the whole walk, which felt so good. So I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but we started with Hurlbut's and By the Shores of Silver Lake, And then I assigned to the kids the book A Nest is Noisy. I love these books. We have An Egg is Quiet, and there are like one about seeds, and the illustrations are just gorgeous. So I didn't want the kids to miss out on all of the illustrations that are throughout the book, so I decided to assign it rather than to read it to them. So they all took turns reading from A Nest is Noisy. After school, my 19-year-old and my 15-year-old and I went down and worked on changing out an outlet in my daughter's room. Now, I have changed out a light switch before, but never an outlet. So this was a new experience, but it was also something that I wanted them to learn as well. And we had an electrician friend who actually was like helping us and checking our work. So we would do something and then shoot him a picture, and he checked it all over and gave us the thumbs up on it. So that was really nice. It was a good teaching moment for them. And we got that outlet changed out, and it was perfect, and it felt like, you know, she accomplished something and the 15-year-old accomplished something, and I felt like I accomplished something. So I am always glad when I can accomplish things like that. It's a pretty simple thing, but yet it's like, you know what, knowing how to do that is really, really important. So I'm glad that they got to learn too. For lunch, I had a baked potato and blackened chicken. I really like the blackened chicken. I think it's from Tyson, but it's almost impossible to find. I just accidentally found the bag that I did at Walmart. And when I went back this last week, I couldn't find any more. So I'm not sure that they carry it very often or if it's just sold out immediately as soon as they get it in. But it's really, really good. It's spicy, but it's a nice spicy. And so I put that over my potato this time. And then I did get the podcast uploaded and edited and put through, and the corresponding post that has to go out. And then I wrote an email to share with everyone that I had done that. When I am really on my A game with the blog, I can put out like a podcast and a video and a post all about the same thing and just talking about it in a little different way in each one. But sometimes I just can't seem to manage all three of those at the same time. But this time I did. So I had a post and a podcast and a video on balancing homeschooling and housework. Then once I did that, I loaded all of the kids up, including the 19-year-old, and we went to the library. And every single month, the library has a scavenger hunt for the little kids to do. And so my little girls like to do it. They run around the children's department looking for these pictures that have been posted up on the walls and in the bookshelves, and then they check them off, and when they're done with the page, they can go and get a sticker. A lot of times there's a craft to do as well, but they said all of the January crafts were gone, so they didn't get to do a craft. But then the kids gathered up a whole bunch of books, and I picked up my holds, and we headed out. On the way home, we stopped at the bank because my 19-year-old doesn't have a checking account yet, and we decided that it was probably time. She's finding more and more need for like a debit card. And so we stopped there, and the little kids got fed treats and drinks from the tellers, and she and I worked through getting her checking account set up and her debit card and all of that. And so I'm really glad we finally found the time to do that. We've been wanting to do this for at least a year, and we just haven't been doing it. She has a savings account, but she just had not had the need yet to set up a checking account. And so this was prime time to do that. So that's what we did. Then we came home, and I had the kids tidy up the entire main level so that we could run our Roborock S8 Ultra, which is the new robot vacuum that I told you we got in last week's vlog. And here's just a little excerpt of that vacuum going through the house. And I got to tell you, I really, really love this thing. It takes care of the dust bunnies. It mops the floor for me. We are still doing our Friday home blessing, but in between, it's making it so much nicer for me. The hardwood floors get dust bunnies so bad. And then I have all those little doggy footprints and all those little kid footprints. And so it's really nice to be able to have that all cleaned up several times a week. As the Roborock was vacuuming the floor, I went upstairs and I filmed last week's Large Family Homeschool Life. That evening, our newly turned 18-year-old called, and he wanted to play video games with the younger boys. And so they did that. And I colored with the 9-year-old while we watched Lynette Yoder here on YouTube. She is a Mennonite woman who was raised Amish. She lives in Sarasota, Florida, and she cooks and talks about lots of different things. I really enjoy her cooking videos. I don't know why we like to watch other people cook. I really hate to cook on camera because I'm a really messy cook, but I like to watch other people do it. And so Aspen and I were just watching her and coloring in our little coloring book. And then I bathed the mini poodle and I groomed him. When I first got him, I invested in a pair of clippers and some scissors and combs and brushes because I figured I was going to save a mint if I could figure out how to groom him myself. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I figured it out. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm not doing too bad. I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of what I need to do. He looks super cute, and so I did all of that. My 13-year-old helped some when we got to the blow drying phase because that takes quite a while, and I need like him to run the blow dryer while I kind of brush so that he gets that nice poofy look. But I have saved an absolute ton of money by doing it myself. And honestly, I cut the boy's hair, so I figured surely I could figure out how to cut a dog's hair. So I do all of his grooming myself, and it's turned out just as good, I think, as a professional groom, and not nearly as much money. So Thursday morning, it was pouring rain, and the creek in our backyard was just raging. There's rocks that they've built up to kind of stabilize the creek. And I mean, it was just pouring over those rocks. So between the snow melt that we've had and now this pouring rain, like we have got a lot of water here. Definitely no drought here anymore. But despite all that, I walked Winston a mile. It completely ruined his poofy haircut. You know, he ended up all kinky curly from the rain, but oh well, that's life. After breakfast, we did morning time. This time we started with an Emily Dickinson poem and read in Hurlbut's and By the Shores of Silver Lake. And then we also read Cranberry Christmas, which you guys are gonna laugh, but in case you think I'm crazy, I better explain this whole thing. Back in November, we did a Christmas curriculum, and it had all of these books. And I ordered all these books through the library, but several of them had like several holds on them, so I knew I was just gonna have to wait my turn. Well, I tried to go in and cancel after Christmas, the ones that didn't ever come, but I couldn't get the cancel button to work. And so these books just keep coming, and rather than not read them or not go pick them up, I decided to just go ahead and read them. So today we read Cranberry Christmas. You guys want to see my puppy? Come here, Winston. Here's my puppy. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Look. No? Yeah. Anyway, this is Winston Churchill. Isn't he cute? And now he wants to be petted while I do this video. After morning time, I worked on the week 1 for 100 Acre Wood, which is the next curriculum we're going to go to. It is from A Year of Learning, and we're mixing her Primer with Pooh and 100 Acre Wood together because there's some aspects of Primer with Pooh, even though it's too young for my kids, there's some things in it that I want to do. And so I'm mixing them together, and then I'm adding some things in for my older kids. It'll be our morning time. And I started on week 1, and then I'm kind of mixing and matching. And while I was doing this planning, I decided to go ahead and order felt for the felt discovery play that they have. I think it's in Primer with Pooh. And it's like pieces of like felt, like suppose you've got a seed and you've got a green outer, and then you've got like the stem and all kinds of things, and you put those together on a felt board with these different colors felt pieces. There's a bee that we're gonna cut out, and so my 19-year-old has agreed to help me with this. So I went ahead and ordered felt because every time I go to our local Walmart to find felt, they don't have a very good selection, and we don't live in a town that has like a Hobby Lobby or anything like that. I have to drive a ways, and I just don't want to do that. So I got on Amazon. Here's what I got. I bought one of these. This is like hard as a rock, but it's been vacuum sealed. These are all skin tone colors. And then I got 2 of these. And this is just a big old thing of felt. And I got 2 of those. And then my 19-year-old and I are going to work with the templates and cut out all the different things. I already have a felt board. And I just thought it would be a fun extra thing to do for school. So a little bit about what we're doing. We are taking a Jubilee year this year. I will eventually have a video out about this, and I am speaking in Branson in May for the Teach Them Diligently conference, and one of those sessions is going to be on Jubilee homeschooling and what that means. And basically it is taking a break from your normal homeschooling routine. We typically do Tapestry of Grace. It's a 4-year classical cycle, and it goes through history, and I love it. But I also like to do fun little curricula like the Playful Pioneers and 100 Acre Wood, and I can't do both. So every few years I take a Jubilee homeschool year and we do something completely different. And so that's what we've been doing this year. We started with Playful Pioneers, then we're moving to 100 Acre Wood, and then we should be done with that in time to start Tapestry of Grace in the fall and start it over with year 1, just in time for the fall semester. I do have a post on the blog and a podcast about Jubilee homeschooling, so you can check that out in the description below. After I got done with that, my mom called and I ended up talking to her for quite some time, and I didn't get lunch until about 2 p.m. This time I piled up butter, lettuce, and hamburger and seasoning and ranch, and that was my lunch, and it was really tasty. The boys got on a Zoom call with their friends, and I read to the girls from Heartwood Hotel. We are still not done with the book because I only read when I have time. We have a few chapters left, but they're really enjoying it, and again, it is a cute little story. Then the little girls watched Martha Speaks. And honestly, something about that show really grates on my nerves. I don't know what it is. Now, Bluey, I like Bluey. Bluey is hilarious. But Martha Speaks, I don't know. I can't stand that show. But I digress. It was the 11-year-old's turn to do laundry. It was also my laundry day. But he does towels, and so he does the towels on the same day that I have laundry. So he was getting those through, and then I got my laundry through. Our new laundry schedule is working really, really well. And so I am feeling like we're staying on top of the laundry better than we ever have. That evening, I made pad thai shrimp. And I have to be honest, I got this shrimp at Aldi. It was a special buy. It was wild caught shrimp. I'm thinking I don't like my shrimp wild caught because I don't like my shrimp tasting like shrimp, I guess. I don't know. That's what my 19-year-old said. I said, it tastes kind of fishy. And she's like, you just don't like your shrimp tasting like shrimp. That is true. I think I don't like my shrimp tasting like shrimp. So I will probably never, ever buy that again. It was just too fishy. But we really like this recipe for pad thai, but it just was not very tasty. And I mean, the kids ate it, but I think we're going to have leftovers, and I don't think anybody's going to eat the leftovers. And then for a couple of hours that evening, the girls and I went over to a friend's house to crochet and play with puppies. These are the puppies that are a mix between our French Brittany Spaniel and our friend's English Springer Spaniel. They have the ticking on their hands and their muzzle. Most of them have the English Springer Spaniel head. Kip's head is a lot more narrow and a longer snout. But most of the puppies kind of have their mom's head, but they are so, so cute. And so we had some puppy playtime, and I'm still working on my granny squares. And so we did that for a couple of hours, and then we came home and had special night. It was Mercy's turn to be in charge of special night. She chose Skittles and Pepsi. And we played Exploding Kittens, and the kids played Minecraft. I don't play Minecraft. I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at all video games. The kids like to make me play them so that they can laugh, but I did not play this time. Okay, Friday is our home blessing day. So after breakfast, we reset the house, which basically means anything that's out of place goes back where it belongs. And then I usually work to declutter and rearrange things, and the kids move into their chores. So we did that. We got all the home blessing done. The house was beautiful, smelled great. It's a great way to start our weekend. After we got the chores done, I made garlic toast from the bits of bread that I keep in the freezer. Basically, when I get to like the end of a loaf, or I have hamburger buns left over, hot dog buns or something like that, I will split them in half, tear them up, whatever I need to do. I put them into a freezer bag. Then when I have enough, I bring them out. I mix them with butter and Parmesan and garlic salt, and I lay them out on a tray and I bake them at 325 for like 20 minutes. And then we have garlic toast. Now, most of the time, my Fridays are the days that I take as kind of a rest day, just a down day. I tend to piddle and not do a lot. And this Friday, what I chose to do was to kind of work on the blog. I use the term work really loosely because frankly, it doesn't feel like work. I enjoy messing with the blog and doing stuff. But I ended up opening an email from Google about Google merchant services and how, I need to put my digital products on the Google shopping. And so I added this plugin to the blog and I got in over my head. I could not figure out what I was doing. I was trying to figure out what in the world I should do. Should I just, get rid of it and forget it? That's what I was leaning towards, but I didn't really do anything. However, when I sat down to write out my post about my last week, I went and grabbed the link for my store. And when I opened my storefront, there was nothing there. The plugin had deleted everything. Thankfully, all I had to do was deactivate it and delete the plugin and all of my stuff came back. But that was a little terrifying when it was not there at all. But thankfully, that's all back. And guess what? I don't care if my stuff shows up on Google. We all know it's there. People who are looking for it know where to find it. It's at Raising Arrows /store. And I don't need to have it on the Google shopping because that was causing me all sorts of headache. All right, so after a quick lunch, I took the 19-year-old to her dentist appointment. Sure enough, last week, she did need a filling. She had some sensitivity. They decided to fill it. So I took her for that. It didn't take very long. While she was doing that, I ran over to the bank and I deposited my college students' barista tip money, which is like 1,000,000 $1. That's what it felt like. Not quite that many, but anyway, they took care of that for me. And then that way that's all in her savings, and she can use it as needed. When I got back home, I made myself a cup of cinnamon roll coffee. I am trying to teach myself to drink my coffee black. I used to drink my coffee black back when I was in high school. There was a little, quick shop kind of thing that, had coffee that was free, and I would drink it black back then because it was free. But as I got older, I quit drinking it black, and I decided I kind of needed to teach myself to drink it black to kind of lower the sugar and the calories and stuff like that. I do not like fake sweeteners, even stevia. They kind of mess with me, and so it's either real sugar or nothing. And I decided it was probably a good idea to work on the nothing when it comes to the coffee. However, my 7-year-old is very upset with me because she's always said from the time she was little bitty, she would say, you drink the hot, I drink the cold. And so she likes to drink my cold coffee because I don't like to drink cold coffee. And so anything that's left over, she would drink it. Some people let their kids drink soda. My kids drink coffee. I figure it's not any worse. But anyway, she's a little upset with me right now because it doesn't have any creamer in it. Later that afternoon, I helped another homeschool mom work on her schedule and try to find some joy in her homeschooling again. She really was not enjoying homeschooling at all. And I had said something offhand about really, really enjoying it and hoping that I could homeschool my grandchildren. And she's like, listen, I need to know, what's your secret? And so I kind of tried to share with her, I am not sure that everybody can love homeschooling as much as I do, but I feel like I have found my rhythm. I've found a place where I teach from this joyful place where I enjoy what I'm doing. And I think that's the key, especially with choosing curriculum and choosing how you homeschool. You have to find something that you're passionate about. You have to find a teaching method, a schooling method, the curriculum that makes you happy first, things that really work well with your brain. And then that ends up transferring to your children so that they see that joy and they enjoy the school as well. And certainly you do need to look at your children's learning styles and stuff like that. But I think ultimately you have to start with yourself and decide what you're passionate about. Now, when I got done talking to her, I started on a blog project that I am super excited about. You guys know how excited I was about the liturgical calendar guide for Protestant families. It is an ebook that's just a guide that walks you through from Advent all the way to ordinary time. And it's got ideas for celebrating as a Protestant family following the church year. Well, I decided that there are lots of things that I want to add to this, and I want to update it, and I want to show you pictures and things that our family is doing. And I couldn't just keep updating the guide. So what I decided to do was start putting all of that onto a platform online where you could access it and you could go look at exactly what you need, the season, the holiday, whatever it is. You could just pick it out and find the ideas and implement what you want to, and I could continually update there. So I'm working on that project. All of that should be out for Lent, right before Lent. I will have all of that out, I'm pretty sure. So be looking for that. I am so excited about it because I'm just so passionate about this church year and the richness and beauty that comes from going through our year with a Christ-centered focus and celebrating those holidays and learning about the early church fathers and the timeline of Jesus and just doing that year after year after year. So, like I said, passionate project of mine. I love my liturgical calendar guide, but this is going to be like a step up. And so I definitely would encourage you to check that out when it is ready right before Lent, which is coming up very quickly. So I need to keep working on this project. All right, so I said Friday is the day that I kind of piddle, and it seems like all I've done this Friday is work, but I did end up watching a little bit of season 8 of Blue Bloods. I really, really like Blue Bloods. When I was bedridden with our 10th child, I watched all the way through season 8, which was as far as they had filmed at that point. This was 2016. And season 8 was my absolute favorite season. That's the season I'm in right now. And so I'm kind of like going back through it and reliving it all over again. Now, please, nobody spoiler alert for me because I haven't seen anything past season 8, but I'm really enjoying going back through them. So that's what I did for relaxation today. For dinner, I made lasagna and a salad, and we had the garlic toast. And then we just kind of spent a quiet evening at home, and it was really lovely. Now, you might have noticed I sound a little stuffy. I have a cold. It's actually my birthday, and I'm feeling pretty good other than being kind of stuffy. But I really just wanted to get this video out, get it recorded for you, and just share our life with you. I hope you guys had a lovely homeschool week as well, and I will see you next time.